Welcome back, focused learners. Today is July 6th, 2026, and we're diving into another daily explainer. As always, we're going to use our simple, minimalist infographics to cut right through the noise. We aren't just looking at isolated headlines today. We're using a framework I like to call systemic friction to see how the architecture of a modern state actually operates under the surface. So let's get right into it. Here's a quick look at today's agenda. We're going to cover the passport paradox, the surplus illusion, some major welfare transitions, tech and federalism, space milestones, and finally, the administrative gap. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's keep moving.
All right, starting with Section 1, the passport paradox. Get ready, because we're about to challenge some really fundamental assumptions about national identity and what it actually means to belong.
Let me ask you a pretty simple question. If I handed you your Indian passport right now, what does it actually prove? Most of us would instantly and confidently say, well, it proves I'm a citizen, obviously. But what if the government officially told you it doesn't? Yeah, there's a fascinating legal distinction happening right now. On June 24th, the Ministry of External Affairs officially stated that an Indian passport is merely a travel document. It's essentially been legally downgraded at home, meaning it is not considered a conclusive citizenship document. Think about the friction there for a second. The exact document issued to represent you as a citizen abroad doesn't actually prove your citizenship back home. If a passport is just for travel and Aadhaar is just for residence, you really have to ask yourself, what is the ultimate proof of belonging? To really grasp this friction, let's think of it like an old library card. It used to be that just flashing your library card gave you a presumption of membership, right? The librarian sees the card and you walk right in. But with this new stance, it's like the librarian saying, hey, this card only proves you hold a card. Now you need to show me your birth certificate to prove you actually deserve to be a member. It completely shifts the heavy burden of proof onto you, the individual, instead of relying on the state's own issued records. It's a massive shift in how the state views identity. Okay, moving on to Section 2, the surplus illusion. We're transitioning from the identity of the state to its economy, specifically doing a quick wallet check on Uttar Pradesh. This is a brilliant illustration of a really common economic misconception. So, Uttar Pradesh recently reported this massive 60,000 crore revenue surplus. I mean, on paper, that sounds like incredible financial health, right? But when you actually dig into the Comptroller and Auditor General data, this surplus isn't from wealth creation at all. It's actually from an inability to spend its budget on capital outlay. Imagine planning to spend 100 rupees on books, but the store is closed, so you only spend 70. You've got 30 rupees left over, sure. But that's not a surplus of wealth. It's a failure to acquire what you actually needed. By underspending on crucial infrastructure, the state is effectively sacrificing its future economic growth. That brings us to Section 3, welfare transitions. Let's look at a massive injection of rural development funds that signals a major systemic shift in the country.
Just take a second and look at that massive number, over 25,000 crore. This is the first installment released under the brand new VBGRMZ Act. Uttar Pradesh got the highest allocation, over 3,200 crore, followed really closely by Andhra Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Tamil Nadu.
Well, why is this transition such a big deal? Well, because we are officially moving from a bottom-up, demand-driven system, like MGNREGA, to a top-down, infrastructure-driven model. Under this new act, work actually requires a Viksit Gram Panchayat plan. And here's where governance gets incredibly modern. This plan has to be mapped using spatial data platforms like ISRO's Yuktadara GIS portal and the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. We are literally physically mapping rural employment directly to satellite infrastructure planning. It's a completely new era of welfare. Let's shift gears to Section 4, tech and federalism. This is a fascinating look at how the state navigates regional pride and digital safety. First up, let's apply this constitutional concept of cooperative federalism to ecology. The translocation of the Asiatic Lion from Gujarat to Madhya Pradesh has basically been stalled for over a decade. Why? Because Gujarat sees these lions as a matter of fierce regional pride, essentially a core part of their state identity. But on the flip side, the center and scientists view a second home for the lions as vital biological security, to prevent a total extinction event from a single disease outbreak. It's a perfect real-world clash that is really testing the limits of cooperative federalism. Now, on the corporate border front, the IT ministry is tackling a deeply disturbing issue. Child sexual abuse is an abhorrent crime with absolutely zero room for tolerance.
following a media investigation that revealed Instagram's algorithms allegedly promoted paid ads linking to illicit material. The government directly ordered Meta to disable this content and gave them a strict 7-day deadline to provide a detailed explanation. Meta, for their part, stated they have a zero-tolerance policy, but noted they're fighting a constant battle with criminals trying to evade detection among their 3.5 billion users. The government is currently weighing its next steps based on Meta's response.
All right, zooming out a bit for Section 5, Energy and Space Milestones. This is all about national resilience and navigating complex global supply chains. Let's walk through this timeline because it really shows how India builds national resilience. We import nearly 65% of our liquefied natural gas through the Strait of Hormuz. When conflict flared up in West Asia back in February, it seriously threatened this critical bottleneck. But look at the agility here. By March, India invoked emergency powers to divert and prioritize gas supplies. Fast forward to July, LNG shipments have normalized and the government has smoothly withdrawn those emergency provisions. It is literally a textbook example of institutional agility when managing sudden global energy shocks. And while we're navigating energy on Earth, our domestic tech capabilities are soaring into space. ISRO is continuing its meticulous prep for the Gaganyaan human spaceflight mission. They just successfully wrapped up the second integrated airdrop test, the Mission Mitra behavioral study for astronauts in Leh, and crucially, they tested the Solve platform. That platform validates the mechanics of the deceleration and parachute systems during the incredibly dangerous re-entry phase. Just amazing indigenous progress.
That brings us to our final part today, Section 6, the administrative gap. Let's tie everything together with a quick reality check on the spaces between our static laws and dynamic reality. Look at this staggering number, 20 lakh. That is 2 million names completely deleted from the Odisha draft electoral rolls. This happened after a special intensive revision used house-to-house verification and found voters who were deceased, permanently shifted, or just untraceable. It really highlights the immense, continuous administrative effort it takes just to maintain the basic integrity of our democratic data.
So the crucial takeaway here is that to understand the friction in today's news, you absolutely have to continually revisit your static constitutional texts. For example, the MEA's passport statement we talked about. That directly triggers Articles 5 to 11 on citizenship. Or take the political maneuvering in Maharashtra. When an MLC switched allegiances recently, he claimed exemption under paragraph 5 of the 10th schedule because of an immediate promotion. To understand these loopholes, you have to deeply know your foundational texts. There's just no way around it.
And that leads us to our final provocative thought for today. When a social media algorithm promotes harmful content, can the tech giant behind it truly claim to be just a neutral intermediary in a modern state? Remember, the real administrative learning happens right here, in these systemic gaps between a passport and citizenship, an unspent budget and real development, or a digital platform and the law. Keep analyzing these contradictions, stay focused, and I can't wait to see you back here for tomorrow's explainer.